in that live event Q&A a thumbs up, that's going to make sure that I know that you know how to navigate there. So I won't keep explaining how to do it. If you like it, that tells me that you know how to get there. So while you all are filling that out, I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of our content here, just so that you all can see what we've got planned. I show currently that we have 28 attendees, and so far 3 have filled out the survey, so we still have a little bit of work to do. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Amanda Pritchard. I work in the Office of Information Technology, and I do events and outreach. So it is absolutely my pleasure to be here working with you all today. This is our second session on Microsoft Forms, which has become a fast and furious friend of mine throughout the pandemic. It's something that I use on a daily basis. So I have a lot of passion about it, and I'm excited to share it with you. So for those of you just now joining, if you look in that upper right corner under the question mark box, you will see a link there. Just one second. I'm getting feedback that the sound is hard to hear. Rosetta, are you able to hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think we changed the sound settings here, so I'll put this other one in real quickly. Hopefully that's better. Oh, the form. Okay, Melissa said the form didn't let her answer the way that she wanted it to. I'm sorry. It was a quick form that I built. So I'm going to go ahead and share those results just so that you all can see what it looks like once you have completed the form. So for those of you just joining, I show we've got 35 on now. It's the upper right-hand corner and that question mark box. If you'll fill out that form, that's going to give us a little bit of information about you all today and what you're here for. Okay, I hear there's problems with the form. Somebody may have created it a little too quickly and made a mistake. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, I do hear that there's something going on with number 4. So maybe that's something during this training we'll look at fixing. So welcome everybody. So I'm going to take a quick look. These are the results that have come in so far from the form that you all submitted. So the reasons and the motivations for attending. Motivation for coming, just wanting to learn something new. We have no forms fanatics yet, so that's great because by the end of this, I hope that you all will be. We have a couple that are, or one that's hooked on Qualtrics, and a lot that are interested in it and think that they might be able to love it as well. So the number one reason looks like for using forms would be surveys. Second would be for registrations. Number 4, the problem child. I understand that there's something going on with that. So we'll look at that. But it looks like for those that did say they've already registered, that's great. And let's see, how many are willing to dance at the beginning of Teams Tips? It looks like I had one of the answers, and it doesn't put it here, but that you would just sit there with your arms crossed stoically. So if that's you, it's okay. It's fine. But anyways, we're so glad that y'all are here. We're going to try something new, because what else would be more fun than in Teams Tips to try something that's a little bit different, right? That's what we all love to do. So today I have started this session as a PowerPoint Live. So just one moment, maybe, and it's going to pull up here as PowerPoint Live. Let me see here. It's persnickety, just one second, user error. I tried. Anyone else getting dizzy? Let me end the session. This is going to pull up a new option for y'all to use PowerPoint today. So I will, if you have your smartphone handy, if you want to go ahead and grab that, you will need that so that you can be testing this out here. So let's see here. We're going to be presenting live. So you'll see something different that's pulled up on the screen. So what I would love for you to be able to do is, if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead and pick it up and open it up like you're going to be taking a picture. So if you just open up your camera icon and then take your phone and hold it in front of the screen, in front of the Q&R code. The Q&R code is that black and white square that you see in front of our screen. So if you want to go ahead and hover over that using your smartphone camera, it's going to pull up that link for you, and I'll go ahead and copy and put it in the chat as well, just so that if you need it, you'll be able to have that. What's really cool about PowerPoint Live is that you all will be able to join and watch from your phone. It's going to offer live transcription as well as a way for you to interact with my slides today. So it's a really fun, engaging tool that you can use. So if you haven't already, grab your smartphone. I see 2 have joined. I'm one of them, guys. So if you want to grab your phone and open up your camera like you're about to take a selfie, but we're not. We're taking a picture of the screen. No selfies right now. So if you you don't even have to take the picture, you just hold your camera up right in front of that black and white square and you'll see it pull up. You do have to use your net ID and password to authenticate. And so once you get in there, you'll be able to see it on your device and be able to interact with the slides as we're moving along. So that way, if I'm going too fast, if you're having trouble, you can give me a frowny face, you can give me hearts or likes, or even angry faces, but hopefully we won't get to that level today. We'll just see what happens. So I'm going to give you all just a few more moments to join here. And oh, look, I already got a heart. Yay! So it makes me feel so great. So it's also in the live event Q&A chat, which is on the upper right. It's the question mark. So if you don't have your smartphone with you, if you maybe just don't feel comfortable using your phone to do this, that's fine. You can click on that link, or you don't have to participate at all. It's just something I kind of wanted to test. So you can see as people are joining, they're able to post those emojis and have those interactions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move forward with the PowerPoint portion of our training today on Microsoft Forms. If you haven't had a chance to join, just go ahead and you can do that via the chat, okay? So there are actual slides for you to react to. We'll get to those in just a second. So the first thing I like to tell you about is just what our upcoming trainings are. We hear from you every day with things that you're wanting to learn, things that you're wanting to enhance, or even things that you might be struggling with understanding. And in response to that, we've put together a number of upcoming trainings and are busy planning things throughout the fall. So the ones that we have coming up most recently are going to be breakout rooms. This is something that we've already had released on campus, okay? So some of you have already used this, some of you already feel like masters, but breakout rooms is not finally devised by Microsoft. So they're still working on a few things, and they're going to actually come to a live event and share with you what breakout rooms are going to look like, how you can utilize those, and how you can engage. Okay, on October 30th, we're doing a training on Microsoft Bookings. I know. If you could see the eye rolls, my team gets so annoyed when I do that. But seriously, it's the day before Halloween and it's bookings. So how you really say it is bookings. What we're going to be doing with Microsoft Bookings is training individuals on if you have to make appointments, if you have a shared calendar, if you're like a counseling office, have office hours, anything where you would want people to select and to be able to join you for that appointment, then you can use Microsoft Bookings for that. We just recently launched it, and so it's all part of your office suites now, but we're going to go into the details of how to set up your own booking calendar, how to set up appointments, how to share that with a team. And then in addition, if you're looking for doing what I'm doing now, this level of crazy as a Teams live event, then you can come and I offer personalized small group training so that we can actually see each other and talk through how to host a Teams live event, which is what we're in right now. So anyways, we've posted in the chat a link to these upcoming trainings. If that's something that interests you, if you'd like to kind of delve a little deeper there, then you can go and look at those to register. Okay, if you've missed any of our trainings and would like to catch up, TMOG wants you to know that all of our trainings are also included on YouTube. So you can go to our YouTube channel, which we'll post in the chat as well, and you can go there and subscribe. Right now, y'all, I checked before we're coming on, we have 93 subscribers. I just need 7 more. When we break 100, we're going to be able to reach more people, have a personalized channel, and have better outreach. YouTube sets that threshold. So if you are interested in subscribing and being the first to get to see these trainings and to get that kind of extra level of information, please subscribe. If you want to see any of our past trainings, we've been doing these since June, that you'll have the whole repertoire there and to be able to review any of those sessions from the previous time. Okay, so let's get ready to get started. Hopefully everybody has their PowerPoint Live already on their phone, so if you want to continue to interact as I'm speaking, I think it's really fun to see those emojis come across the screen. But we're going to delve into what we're all here for today, which is Microsoft Forms. So what in the world is Microsoft Forms? Microsoft Forms is the way that Microsoft has allowed us to take surveys, quizzes, or polls and integrate them within the Microsoft suites to interact and keep our audiences engaged. Like what I showed you just a little while ago, you get real-time results. So as soon as somebody completes that form and completes that survey, you'll be able to get those answers immediately. And then also that you saw, you'll be able to pull analytics from that form and to have that detailed quantifiable information that you can send to a department head, to a supervisor, whoever, and let them know the results of your event, your class, whatever your activity is. Okay, so we just posted in the chat the link. If you've never been on Forms before, it's forms.office.com. So I know I am a visual and hands-on learner, so I like to follow along. So if you're like me and you want to follow along, great, please go ahead. You can pull it up on your own. Again, you do have to log in with NetID and password, but you could go ahead and pull up through that site and get logged on and practice making a form along with us. I'm going to log on to that platform too in just a moment, but I wanted to give you the additional time. Rosetta, do we have any questions that I need to address before I move on?
No, we seem to be good.
Okay, I haven't seen any emojis in a while, y'all. What's going on? Everybody's just so engrossed in pulling up their form, I guess. Okay, so Microsoft Forms, what will it allow you to do? You can create a form. So the broader terminology is forms. So whether you're using that for a quiz, for a survey, whatever it is, it's just considered a form. But not just create it, you can customize it. So you can keep a consistent look and feel with whatever your design is for your event or your activities. Look at that. Yay, there's the emojis. I was so worried they were gone. In addition, you can request responses and you can review results. So it gives you a huge glance at what your audience is seeing, thinking, and feeling, whether that's for, again, for a class or for an event or whatever you're using it for. It's a tool that can be used however you see best fit. Okay. So when should you use it? I get a lot of people, well, I don't really think it applies to me. I don't know that I'll use it. I don't know that I need it. So some of the use cases for forms would be to create a poll. If you're trying to get an idea as to upcoming trainings, what things would people like to see? What would you want to know? You could create a poll. You could create quizzes. Now, I do have to provide the disclaimer that if you are a faculty member using this, you can't use forms for grading. If any questions on what you can use, tools you can use for grading purposes, you'll need to contact eLearning. But if you're looking at just a general quiz to get somebody's ideas or thoughts, or to, as an extended poll, you can use that as a quiz. Or if you're having a department party and trying to get an idea as to people's feedbacks, you could use it for that. For registrations, to come to the event today, you would have registered online and using a form to register to get here. If you're looking for quick assessments or to survey participants, you can use it as a surveying tool. After Teams Tips, I always send down a follow-up email with a survey that I've built in Forms to get an idea as to what we need to do to change or to collect any kind of feedback. So that is the why and the what behind Forms. And the final slide that I have is where can you use it? What can you use it on? What supports it? So the following browsers, you can open up forms on any of these websites: Edge, Firefox, Chrome, or Safari. So you'll notice the one that's missing is Internet Explorer. Microsoft is going to be reducing its support of Internet Explorer, so I just don't even recommend having that because they're going to be reducing that support. So rather than rely on it and then have to make the change, I've already eliminated that. But you can see the number of platforms that it's supported on, so you're not going to have trouble with people accessing your form when you create it. It's something that they'll be able to connect to fairly easily. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing that for a moment while I pull up my other information. Brizeta, while I do that, were there any additional questions?
Just received one right now saying, can we
Okay.
get a direct link from Teams to Forms? The quick links on the left.
You know, is there not already one in there? I'll have to look and be sure. I can't really look right now because I'm scared it might kick me off. But I'll look and see, because I thought that was considered underneath their applications as well. So we'll take a look at that, because yes, I think if it's not already there, that might be something that we could get added. I do, and that helps remind me, just a quick reiteration. So I'm using the one that's online. In my previous training, there was a little bit of confusion. You can get to forms through Teams, but it's a smaller version. If you're looking for just doing a quick, what I called baby form, a quick form, then you can get through it to Teams, whether it's on the quick apps, or you may have to drop down under the ... more options. So you can get to it through there, but it only allows a little bit. And if you want this personalization, the customization that I'm going to be reviewing today, then you're going to want to go to the forms.office.com that we referenced and that we've put in the chat, so that you can do it from there. So this is the results page from what I showed earlier. So we had about 23 people respond to the form when we first put it on. So you can see here the live results. So I'm going to walk you all through actually building and creating our own form. Okay. Let's see here. And sorry, too many tabs open. So you can also go to Office 365 and log in there. If you haven't done that, that's just how to access all of your things online through Microsoft as well. Let's see if I can, if you remember your password. That's a whole nother level of challenge there. So you can get to it here. So if you go to Office 365, you'll be able to see a lot of all of the applications that we've made available to you. So you can get to it here and go into Forms, and it's going to pull that, or you can go into what we already showed as the forms.office.com. So I just wanted to show you a couple of quick ways in case you're looking for multiple ways to navigate to it. There's more than one. So I know what you're seeing on my screen looks like a lot. I told y'all I use it all the time. So there's a lot of information on here. I don't expect when you're logging into yours will not look like mine. I've been using it routinely, maybe borderline obsessively. So you'll be able to see that I have quite a few that I've created. And again, mine's going to be a little bit different. So yours probably won't have all of these here. These are just showing my forms. And when you log on to yours, it's only going to show you what you create. So to get started, if you're following along on your own desktop at home, to create one, I'm just going to focus on form today, because the quiz offers the exact same questions, the exact same kind of setup and design and look and feel. So it's a little repetitive to get into that. It's essentially the same thing. It just gives you a little bit different analytics on that side. So to go to create a new form, you just click New Form, and it's going to pull up in this space. How is the view for that? I'm going to zoom in just a little bit here, if everybody's able to see that okay. If not, just shoot us a comment in the chat, and Brizeta will let me know if I need to zoom in some more, okay? So this is where we're going to start. And I went ahead and typed out, since I can't type and apparently click things at the same time, I typed out our form details that we're going to be using today. So for our purposes today, I'm just going to use this as a form sample for us if we were having an event, because that's kind of what I do, so that's what I'm most familiar with. So at the start of your form, you have an option for your title, and then you have a description box. And that's just going to be shown to your audience to let them know what your form is about. So for our purposes, mine just says, here's where you talk about the purpose of your form and how you want people to use it. We'll pretend this is a form. I didn't spell check. A form for an event. And let's gather details for our attendees registering. In just a minute, I'm going to get ideas from y'all. Is it better? Okay, better with the Zoom. I saw that comment. Okay, perfect. So we'll get some ideas from y'all for some of these questions, okay? I'm going to go through each question at a time, each topic, kind of question topic that you can use, just so you can see how robust this platform is. And so much of it is you click what you want and then you fill it out. It's a very intuitive form and a very easy to use tool, which is why I love it. I need all of the help I can get with simplifying my life. So if you can relate to that, you'll love this as well. So to add our first question, I'm going to go just in order and we will cover all of them so that you can see what all the options are. So for the first one, I'm going to show you its choice. And you see I click the button and immediately it pulls up and it has these little boxes that you just have to fill out. So for us, since we're pretending that we're doing an event, then what is the most important question other than food, right? So we're going to ask our audience is, what meal selection would you like? So we've got a couple of choices that we can enter down here under the different options. Right now, there's only 2 options. So we have an option for vegetarian, and we have an option for vegan. But what if we want more food choices than that? I mean, there are more than just those 2, right? So you can just simply click add option to add your third option in there. And we'll just put in one, for funsies here, for gluten-free. Now, could you continue to add options? Absolutely. But let's say you select a couple of options and you realize that that's a little bit more than what you needed. Catering's not going to be able to accommodate all of these requests. You just simply click delete and it's going to remove it for you and it's gone. So if you want people to answer multiple, so let's say I'm vegan and gluten-free, and I would want to select both of those, then you would select this little toggle at the bottom here that says multiple answers. That will allow your users to pick kind of multiple choice. And then also, if you need to know for whatever your event or activity, is this something that everybody needs to complete? If so, you can select the required button, and that will require anyone that comes to your form, they will be required to fill that out, okay? Let's see here. All right, then we're going to add our next one. The next question option is text. And the text can be anything that you want to add into this box. It is a free text box. You type whatever you want your question, but just be aware that when you include a text option, then the user's answer is going to be available for them to reply whatever they want to, as opposed to when you give them a choice, you have your specific demarcations of what's available. Here, they can type whatever they would like to, okay? So if you have any special dietary needs, then they could put in their answer. So we don't have to make this required. If we want to let them write a full long dissertation on all of their dietary needs, you can select long answer, and that's going to give you more space in that text box. All right, moving along to rating. Isn't this a fun one? Okay, so for our form, for our event that we're pretending about today, we're going to be asking our attendees, how easy was using this form to register? Was this something that, that they enjoyed, that it was very approachable? If so, you can do a star system. It's going to give you a couple of choices here. You can go all the way up to 10, and you can use a star symbol, or you can just use the number symbol. So this would be a great tool for getting any of that feedback on an event or an activity or in the class. How was the level of my volume? How well were you able to see the screen? On a scale of 1 to 10, were the slides approachable and easy to understand? This is a really great quick tool that you can use in any event and very quickly post this as a form at the beginning or end of event and get the feedback that you need in order to improve next time, okay? So our next one would be date. This allows the end user, the person answering, to put in a date of their choice. So for our question is, what date do you recommend for happy hour? So we're going to let the attendees pick anything on the calendar and put in a date recommendation that they have coming up. So if you're wanting to narrow this down, one kind of workaround is that you could list the dates within that text box to say, which date do you recommend? And then you could say October, what is today, 16th, amen. And then you could say, or October 17th. And pose that to a question. So if you're trying to limit it so that they're not just putting in every day for the rest of the year, that's one way to kind of help limit that answer choice. All right, now we're going into our drop down. So we've answered some of the top tier questions that usually come up in a form. So we've gone over those 4 question topics. We're going to move now into these additional subtopics that you can ask. And again, you can make your form as robust as you need for the data that you're trying to get. So you may not need to use all of these, and you may like jumping around and playing with them. So the ranking button, I'm going to pull my cheat sheet here. The ranking button is, what is your favorite type of learning? How do you learn? So I already mentioned today that for me, I am a hands-on learner, which is why I usually play around with this stuff and teach it to myself, because I want to see and do it on my own and understand the implications. So we put in a couple of choices. Okay, so the end user then, when they're able to answer this, you can see this is kind of how it would look to that attendee. So they would be able to, when it's on the response page, they would be able to drag and drop these in order. So you'd probably need to say, in order of your most preferred. So you would need to give some sort of clarification of how you want them to rate, top to last, or whatever verbiage you want to use to describe that. But let's say again, if now that we've done editing this, if you need to go back in and change anything, you just click on it in order to add an additional option. So let's say you're looking and you're playing around with options. Well, wait, no learning, we can't have that. There's got to be some type of learning. Again, you just hover over to the right to delete those answer choices if you've put in too many or you need to change it. I can't spell. We're just going to move along. Let's see. And then I'm going to show y'all the name just so that you can see I did not name this. I was talking earlier to Briseta and saying, who came up with this name? Y'all, seriously. Likert. I'm not sure that Texans can say that, but we'll try our best here. So Likert is another option that you can use. Okay. So let's see here. If you want to give people, and that's the one that I messed up on in the opening form, y'all. So what you can do is you can put, what session would you most like to attend? So here's what I need to rely on my audience. I didn't, yes, you can change. I'm looking at questions now. Wait, before I answer questions, I need y'all to submit in the Q&A some ideas for what sessions would we be having at our fake event. What do you think? What can I put under statement 1 and 2? I need some fake sessions. So while I'm building this down, I'm going to have you all type in some answers and let's see who gets chosen. Be creative, because I know you are. Okay. Likert scale is named after a person. I'm sorry, Kim. Maybe they should have chosen a different name. I'm just saying, y'all. It's tough for a Texan to say. It's like saying linoleum. I mean, we just need different words sometimes. Okay, so what session would you like to attend? Let's see, very much like our options would be to slightly like attending this session. I'm not looking yet to see what y'all are typing. I'm hoping I'm getting some answers. Like, okay, we'll say not like, and then will not attend. So option number 5, you did not make the cut. All right. What session do you think our attendees would most like to? Oh, good deal. We already got some. Okay, Helen said cake baking. Anonymous, we know who you are, said cocktails. Another anonymous, let's see, I'm pulling. Oh my goodness, so many great ones. Y'all were busy. Fun run, a trip to Europe. Why is everybody anonymous? These are great. Own your ideas, y'all. Mary Beth, COVID cuisine ideas. I hope that's like not cooking with COVID. I don't know if that would work. All right, ballroom dancing. Okay, these are great. So I'm gonna add one more just so that you can see. What session would you most likely? Julia, bless you. Thank you for saying Teams breakout sessions. Yes, who wouldn't want to learn more about that, right? So you can see how quick and easy that is. And so I've got lots of great suggestions. Y'all are super creative. I knew I could count on you because when I was thinking of sessions, I was like, I don't know, I can't think. So now we've got some awesome ideas in here. Leslie says de-stressing by dancing with the llama. So hopefully she took out some of her dancing for at the beginning of the session. That's what that's for, to set the tone so we can just all be ready to learn and relax. So here we have a number of our sessions that we could attend. So to your attendees, they would be given this and then should be able to select one from each column so that you could determine how likely you would want to or would not want to attend these individuals. Now you can rearrange this and restructure it, whatever. It doesn't have to be event-based, but for our purposes, that's where our minds are going to go. Okay, change the order of the options. So if you want to, Helen just asked, how do you change it? So let's say before we want, let's say how easy was using this form to register? We don't want to ask that as question number 3, right? That's too easy because they haven't used the whole form to register. So to move it up or down, you just select back on that question, that individual question, and you would use these arrow keys. So you could move it up to the beginning, you could move your question down wherever you want to. If you like this question a lot, the formatting, and you just want to change a word or two, here's your copy tool, and then here's your delete tool. If you change your mind and say, well, I don't want to ask them how easy this form was to use because I think it's simple and I don't want that feedback. So you could just delete it if you want. And again, the required button is down here. And then there are a few additional options if you do need a subtitle, like if you have a really complicated question, if you're taking in a lot of data that you might want to break down some ideas, that you could do that there, or even label it. So if you have sections within your form or your event registration, you could do that as well. So hopefully, but I don't know how to remove them. You got the 3 dots, so she clicked, so just click off of it. If you clicked on something that was good info, can you move the options within a question? Gotcha, Helen. Sorry, I was misunderstanding. So it kind of, Helen, it depends on what question type that you're using with whether it's going to allow you to maneuver these. So in our little Likert, who's named after somebody very important and smarter than me, our Likert scale, you would need to copy and paste and move those around. So for some of these, you would be able to move them by clicking on the type of question. So for this, I can just drag and drop. Not all of them have the drag and drop feature, okay? Several of them do. So what meal selection would you like? Let's say gluten-free is our top choice because it's the least expensive option of all of them. Then we could put that first. Well, vegan is also fairly inexpensive. You would just click and drop. Most of them allow you to do that. Of course, things like your date box or your text box, there's not information that you could move. So really, it depends on your type of question with how you maneuver those. Okay. Okay, I see a couple other questions that I'll get to in just a minute so that we can finish getting through these. Let's see, scroll down. Which one did we end on? I'm gonna add a new one. Oh, file upload. So this is a great option. Let's say you're taking in student resumes or accepting papers, um, anything, or poster sessions. Let's say our event is having poster sessions and you want people to submit a poster to you. You can add this question to add a file so that the end user could submit a file to you, and you could receive that. Okay, so for us, I went ahead and did the poster proposal question. Send us your poster proposal and we'll review to see if it's approved. So they then, when they're filling out this form, would have the option of uploading a file. They can upload a picture, anything like that. So if you're doing a chemistry study and you want a picture of their project, how did your project end up? Can you send me a picture of, if you're biology, if you're growing something, send me a picture of the plant that you finished growing, or something to that effect. They could send a picture then directly to you and you would receive that in the form. So it's an easy way to compile some of that data and keep it all in one system. Okay. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in. Can you have go-to sections based on? Yes, Kim, yes, I'm going to get there for you. Let's go ahead. Let's move on. Y'all are asking questions. I promise I am going to get to. We've got a couple more to go to really quickly. So how likely, so this one is just kind of a ranking scale. We had this one in our survey at the beginning. How likely are you to sit there and not dance, as to actually dance to the music and just let it all out? So how likely are you to do that? Chance of 0 being not very likely, 10 being extremely likely, right? So we've got that so that your end user can just quickly at a glance select that. So you can use that to however your heart desires. So one thing that I was going to add in, and I added it in the survey that you all completed earlier. If you want to add a picture, if you're trying to do some sort of identification, or if you're just trying to make it more personalized, whatever your use case is, you can add pictures. And I have to zoom out, y'all, for just a second, otherwise I won't be able to see this. So right now it's asking me on the far right, it says insert media. I'm going to select image and then I'm going to select upload. You can search for images online if you want to just search for a specific type of thing. You can search from your OneDrive. So if you have something you've created for an event, an activity, a class, you could pull it from there. I'm just going to upload from my desktop here, and we'll pull up our Teams tips image just so that you all can see that. And you can add an image to any one of your questions that you're asking. So if you are wanting to make it a little bit more personalized, my computer's going to go slow because I'm also doing all the things right now. So while it's going to load in just a second, but once that picture loads, then you can also increase its size or shrink it down within some limitations, but you'll be able to see some ways to identify that. I may have to come back because that's going to take just a little while. So I think, Kim, one of the questions that you were asking was what they are calling branching. Can you ask one question and then jump ahead or maneuver around within the form based on what you've asked? So for our participants, let's see here. Oh, and if you want that specific change in your form, if you're doing a really long form and you want to add a section 1, section 2, section 3, so that it kind of breaks up based on your content of how you're structuring, you can add in sections and give them a title and a subtitle. So if you're looking at, my forms are usually really short, but if you're looking at a more robust form, you can do that. Mercy, it still hasn't loaded my picture. Let me refresh here. It's not having it. Okay, but in addition, what we can do is something that's called add branching. Okay, so branching is a really great way to divide your form up. So you could ask a specific question. So the one that I was going to ask is, do you need a special meal? So if they select yes, then by branching, you would tell it to go to a specific next question. Okay, what are you doing? It's mad because I added sections in here. Remove section. Just a section. Doesn't want to. Remove. I don't want to remove the questions. Okay, we'll go back down here. And oh, my picture came up. Okay, we're going to go to that really quickly. So you can see here, and it depends on the size of your picture and what you've got too. But you can do some basic edits on your picture. So I uploaded this picture that took forever to load because I'm sharing my screen. And within that, you can zoom in. So if there's only a certain aspect of your picture, you can drag and move it around if you only want to show maybe a graphic or a little detail on that. You can have it come in. You have two basic choices where it's going to auto format it for you. You can do it small or you can have it large. So this, I chose a square, but it would be better suited if you're doing it within your questions to do something that's more rectangular so that it can stretch out across that whole bar for you. But then in addition, you can put in alternate text for anybody that's using a screen reader or visually impaired, or if it's difficult to see, you can put in the text so that whatever is on the picture would also show up. But that way you can see if somebody is looking at building, or if you're wanting to add in some pictures, some real fun visual examples, that you'd be able to do that. Okay. In here. I don't want to add a section. I want to add branching. So you can add branching within your sections as well. So I think Kim, we've got a lot of questions coming in, so I apologize. I'm not answering them as quickly as I wanted to. But what you can do is within that section, you can create a section that's just on food choice, t-shirt size, class preference, whatever it is you're trying to capture. And you can add a section and do your branching in there. By selecting branching, it's a little more complicated, so it's gonna be persnickety with me too. By adding branching, you can tell it if I select yes to this question, then I want it to move to whatever other question, or no, I want it to move here or there. So I want to also, I'm looking at our time, I want to also go over, I'm going to move forward outside of that because y'all can play around with the question choices and see. I'm getting questions to you on how to make it personalized and how to do some of those backgrounds as well as our analytics. So I need to get moving on that. I'm going to go through a few of these really quickly. Okay, so if you want to personalize it, because that's usually what I do, is I create a design that can be used for social media, for comment calendar, for my form, for emails, and I want it to look consistent so that you realize whatever you've signed up for, you're getting the same messaging each time. So if you want to do that with your form, you would select on theme. They have a couple of pre-built themes that you could select from. Or if you want to customize your own, you can go in and customize a theme. This is what I like to do, and I wrote it down because I'm not a numbers person. It's 1920 by 1080 pixels for those of you who are creating your own or looking for your own size. Another thing you can do, if you don't want to customize it, you can go in and just find, just like we did before for the other picture, you can search online for a specific background if you're trying to do a Halloween event and you want a certain look. Anything that's a graphic usually works best. You don't want to use anything with words in it because when you do that, it stretches and it pulls and it looks very awkward. And part of it's cut off because your form's overlaying it. So what I usually do is, and I've got this saved, I usually create a very generic image graphic that I can use. And this is, again, it's the 1920 by 1080 pixels, if you can't see that. So I select that and we'll open that up. And I bet you it's going to take a little while since my machine seems to be running slow since I'm doing so many things. Oh, yay, go computer. Sorry, Dell. Sorry, I doubted you. So it pulls in a custom color as well based on the coloring within my graphic, but you can set that to be whatever color. Generally, you want a darker color in there just because it makes it easier to be visible. So you can go in and you can set your customized theme. I'm going to have to shrink down again to be able to share this side. Let me see if I can do this. Whoop. It's not giving me my arrow keys. So that's how you customize it. I know this is hard to see. I'm going to see if I can just zoom in right here. This is where we're going to be hanging out for just a minute, is under these settings, because I know that privacy is so important to so many people at our university. I want to show a couple of options. So if you have an outside event or activity, you can select anyone within the link can respond. It's not letting me select that now because I have the upload feature enabled. So if you're asking people to upload content, that is only available if they're a UTD person. You could not create a form and send it out and be getting content from a lot of outside people. They would need to have a net ID and password, and that's just a kind of a security measure. So, but if I delete that question, we'll just imagine that so I don't jump back and forth. If I delete that question, then I could select anyone with a link to respond. So you could be able to send this form to whoever you want to, as long as you're not asking them to upload content. Or you can say only people in my organization can respond. The nice thing about doing it this way is that it will give you, if you do the recorded name, it's going to provide you their net ID. So that way, if they mistype, if they misfill it out or anything to that effect, you know exactly who they are and how they've responded to your information. You can also select the one response per person. If you're someone who challenges with remembering, did I complete that? Did I send that form? Did I register my kids for all of their activities? Then you want to make sure you can do one response, because when that person tries to go back on and register again and again and again because they can't remember what they've done with their life, then you can select one response per person and they'll go in and they'll see you've already submitted this form, remember? And so they won't be able to submit it. So that way it keeps you from having duplicates on your list as well. So moving along in settings, you can start, you can have a accept response date. So you may prep this form and only need it at a certain time and don't want to start accepting too far in advance because you have specific deadlines. So you can do that. You can have a start date assigned as well as an end date. So if you're polling, like if you're in staff council and you're trying to take a vote, you could have it set. We're only going to accept responses between this time and this time. And it's going to identify exactly who responded, and you'll have their responses, and you know it's closed, so people can't do it outside of the meeting. So that's one way to kind of track that. If you want to, you could have your questions shuffled depending again on what you're asking. But that way, if you don't want the questions to be in a sequential order that might include some biases because we answer in certain orders, then you can shuffle the question. If you want people to see that progress bar, if you have a really long form and as they move along, it lets them know what percentage it's done, you can do that. You can add a customized thank you message. So I usually do that in all of my registrations so that you can see what's coming up, how to submit it, and you can send an email, and you can also get an email notification of each response. So anytime somebody submits it, it'll send you an email. Okay, so there's a lot in settings there to play with. Let's see here. You can also preview it. I don't know why it's, oh, because I'm zoomed in so much. You can preview it too by selecting the preview button so that if you want to, and I know for a lot of people, you can't see all the details. We're just looking at the overarching view right now because it can be a little hard to see. But it numbers the questions for you so you can follow. This is what the end user would see, all of our great questions and activities here. And so you can see what the questions would look like in person, and make sure not only, I'm going to go back up. So not only does it let you see what it would look like on somebody's computer, but if you have a lot of students completing your form, it's going to let you see what it would look like on their phone to make sure that they can still see it and read it and interact in a very user-friendly way. And then it does also embed within it the immersive reader. So if you took our accessibility in action, then you'll be familiar that that actually is a read aloud feature for those that have any kind of visual challenges or impairments. They'll be able to hear that aloud, whatever your questions are. So it automatically syncs with those things within Microsoft. Okay, so I wanted to get back to some of our responses. So this is what we posted when our events first started. So I wanted just to highlight this to show you what the responses look like when you're completed a form and you're trying to get this data to send to whoever needs to know it. So there's 2 tabs on the top. That's the questions. That's where we built our form. And then there's the response tab. And it's just a matter of clicking back and forth to get where you need to go. So under the response tab, you'll get the amount of responses, how long it took, and if your form is still active. Like if somebody still were to go up into my Q&A right now, you can still fill it out and we'll be able to see it come through live. Just saying, it's an option. So if you want an at-a-glance look, you can look at a glance very quickly over these details within forms and get a snapshot of what you're trying to achieve. So it compiles its own graphs, it picks its own colors, so it does that automatically for you. You don't have to work at anything here. Okay. If you want to have an itemized list so that you can go through this data and you can gather this content, then you can open it up in Excel and it's going to provide you all of that in an Excel document, just column by column. So you'll be able to get it that way as well. I'm not going to open it up just because I know some people may not want their responses shown, and that's totally fine. Let's see here. Ken, if you wanted to send this just to a few people to be able to see these charts and graphs, then you're able to do that by selecting Get a Summary Link, and you can gather that. It'll provide a link for you to share, and then you can submit it off. So there's a lot of really fun interactive ways to use forms. And I know I'm getting out of time here, but I just wanted to be able to at least show you some of those details and some of the behind the scenes. But it is helpful too. Let me zoom out. When you're needing to share it, let's see if we can zoom back in here so that y'all can see that. When you're wanting to share it, it's just a big green share button, greenish, blue, yeah, green. Green share button that you can select, and you can select here to share it. You can create a QR code like what we did earlier with the PowerPoint Live. You can embed it on a website. So if you're collecting responses actively, you can do that, or you can email it. Oh, we got 2 more. Look at that. Yay. Okay, fantastic. I'll look at your answers in a second. If you're wanting to share this as a template with somebody else or within your department, you can share that with a wide variety of people. You can also have, you can share it and get a link to collaborate. So if you're wanting other people's input, Briseda's been helping me on the back end today, kind of backstage with me here. So if I wanted her input and say, Briseda, can you check, can you see if I misspelled anything, or if something isn't working, like question number 4, then she could have checked that and made sure that I had a presentation ready for you all today. So that's kind of some fun features. So, okay, great questions coming in. I've got a few more that I'll answer some of these questions now. So if you create a form like we just did, and let's write, so here's our beautiful form that we just spent this whole hour working on. Well, let's say it's not something that you really enjoyed and it just didn't work out well for you. The 3 little dots are always a pot of gold for Microsoft. It's always how you get more information. So if you're looking for something and can't find it, it's usually under those 3 dots. You select those 3 dots and then you would maneuver to delete if you're done with the form and you don't want to have that anymore, okay? You can also copy it if you want to keep that standardized formatting. So you can see here I have several with the same background or possibly the same questions. You can select your 3 dots to copy it, and then you can also move it when you're done. What's really cool is that it syncs up because it's Microsoft Forms, and I know Betsy was asking, what's the advantage of Forms over Qualtrics? The platforms seem to offer the same features. And yes, Betsy, it does offer a lot of the same. Forms is designed and meant to be a very intuitive, simplified tool. You don't have to have a lot of training on it. After today, I feel like you all will probably be fairly confident and capable to do this on your own. Qualtrics is a juggernaut of a system. It has a lot that it can offer, but there's a lot of people on campus that find it's almost unapproachable. It's very challenging to get to know. And there's a lot of things it can do and can produce. But if you're looking for something that's a little bit more approachable and easier to use, this is an alternative. In addition, Betsy, because it's a Microsoft product, it syncs up with everything else that we're already doing on campus. So say, for an example, a professor records a class presentation, uploads that in Stream. Stream automatically has that built in. Would you like to integrate a form to your video? Well, yes, I would. So you can just automatically, using that, using Stream with Microsoft, you can go ahead and embed a form in there, and it will connect for you. And it just allows you a little bit more personalization. I don't know, in my experience, in comparison to Qualtrics, I get a much higher response rate every time when I use forms instead of Qualtrics. So I don't know if it's campus being tired of Qualtrics or just excited by something new, or what it is, but I tend to get a higher response rate using Microsoft Forms, and it integrates so much better with all of the devices that we're already using. So you could create a form here, and this was when we selected the move, it's going to pull up all of the teams in Microsoft Teams that you're associated with. So when you're done with it and you want to store it, you could save it and save its results on Teams. So again, it's just connecting to that collaboration effort so that everything is synced together and united. And ultimately, that's what we want. We want to make sure that the tools that we're using and are given are ones that can connect and make a difference. So I